my best friend and I married into the same family. And we both got pregnant a year later. The hospital detected that my best friend was a super male chimera. The whole internet was in an uproar. And people all persuaded my best friend to have an abortion. But my best friend was stubborn and gave birth to the child. The child she gave birth to was well behaved, obedient, excellent in both character and learning, and successfully slapped the netizens in the face. However, my child was a natural bad seed. He made me lose all my family wealth and my family was ruined. When I was cutting off relations with him, my son stabbed me 18 times for my real estate. Before I died, my best friend triumphantly said that she thanked me for raising her son. And now she had two well-behaved sons at once. It turned out that when my son was born, my best friend had swapped our sons. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the day when my best friend's son was detected with super male syndrome. I was reborn and returned to the day when my best friend's son was detected with super male syndrome. My best friend and I were sitting in my husband's car together. My best friend triumphantly took out the prenatal test report and was about to post it on the internet to show off. My son has one more male chromosome than others. He will surely be a real man in the future. Just as she finished editing and was about to post, I stopped her first. Luna looked at me unhappily. Serena, what are you doing? You can't be jealous of my son, can you? Taking a deep breath, I said gently. Luna, are you stupid? We are somewhat like bloggers now. Your baby has such excellent genes. What if you post this video and make others jealous? What if someone finds us and does something bad? It would be really hard to guard against. Woken up by my words, Luna immediately held my hand. Serena, thank you so much for reminding me. You're really my best sister. I knew that when we married into the same family, we could support each other. I heaved a sigh of relief. I secretly pulled my hand away. Enduring the discomfort, seeing that Luna gave up showing off her super male baby, I felt a bit relieved. Over the past year, my best friend and I have become popular by using the gimmick of marrying a pair of brothers. We share our daily lives on the short video platform every day, which has aroused the envy of many netizens and gained us more than 100,000 followers. In my previous life, when she posted the video showing off her super male baby, she immediately received ridicule from the whole internet. People all persuaded her to abort the baby in her belly. As a result, under the persuasion of my mother-in-law, Luna insisted on giving birth to the child and even boasted to the netizens that her baby would be smarter and more filial than ordinary people. The netizens were waiting to watch the show. But who would have thought that Luna's child was really very well behaved and sensible after birth, and was excellent in both character and learning. Without much effort, he was the first in his grade, successfully slapping the netizens in the face. Luna even became popular on the internet with the gimmick of the genius son with super male syndrome, and earned 100 yuan a month. On the contrary, my child was a natural bad seed. He started lying at the age of 5. When he was in kindergarten, he secretly put a blade in another child's bowl, almost cutting off the little girl's tongue. My husband and I compensated the other family 150 yuan. Later, when he went to primary school, he took the lead in bullying in school. His grades were always at the bottom, because of intentionally harming other classmates. He transferred to 6 schools in 6 years. My husband and I compensated more than 1 million yuan in total, almost emptying all our family savings. Even so, my husband and I didn't give up on him. I even quit my job to try my best to guide him to be good. However, it was no use. After beating him severely several times, he behaved himself for a while. Just when we thought there was a turning point, he raped and killed a 4-year-old girl, and then came back home as if nothing had happened. I didn't know the truth until the police came to the door. My husband and I turned white-haired overnight. At that time, I really wished he could go to prison and be sentenced to death to atone for the little girl. In order to pay compensation, my husband and I discussed selling the house. But my husband was retaliated by the parents of the other child first and died at home. On the way to call the police, I was also hacked 18 times to death by my son, who came back secretly. On the verge of death, I saw my son rush into my best friend's arms and call her mom. Luna looked at me with a smile and said that she thanked me for raising her son all these years. Then I knew that our children had been swapped when they were born. And my mother-in-law, who always seemed to be fair, helped Luna and her husband cover up the truth of my husband's and my death. She even put all the blame on us, saying that it was because we usually abused the child that the bad-natured child's personality became more and more unstable. After my husband and I died, we were scolded by the whole internet. Some people even started to sympathize with the bad-natured child. At this time, Luna stood up and earnestly said that she would take good care of the bad-natured child and prevent him from harming society again. Her move won praise from the whole internet, and her number of followers increased again. I was so angry. I was really angry. Perhaps God also felt the overwhelming anger in my heart, so I was reborn. Thinking of this, I looked at Luna, who was full of pride, and smiled faintly. So before the children are born, it's better not to make a fuss. I'm not that selfless and great. I can't just ignore the hatred of my previous life and directly kill Luna's supermale fetus. I want Luna to reap what she sows and be tortured by her son until her family is ruined. Soon, sorry. Luna and I arrived home. As soon as we entered the door, my mother-in-law greeted us. She shouted at the top of her voice. What did the doctor say? Are they two grandsons? I frowned. Even though I knew the baby in my belly was a boy, I liked both boys and girls. I didn't like my mother-in-law's typical preference for boys over girls. Luna triumphantly handed the prenatal test report in her hand to my mother-in-law. I don't know about Serena. She was too embarrassed to tell me. But the baby in my belly is definitely a boy. Moreover, it's a super male. My mother-in-law asked curiously. What is a super male? A super male, as the name implies, is more powerful than an ordinary male. A real man among men. The most masculine of the masculine. My mother-in-law beamed with joy. The way she looked at Luna's belly was like looking at a gold ingot. Then she looked at me, and was full of discontent. She's too embarrassed to say. It must not be my precious grandson. I didn't refute. My mother-in-law took my silence as guilt and snorted, then went to cook. Luna's eyes rolled. And she comforted me. It doesn't matter, Serena. We're the best sisters. My son is also your son. In the future, when my nephew becomes successful, he will still honor you as his aunt. In the past, I would have been very touched when Luna said this. But now I just smiled faintly and agreed, not missing the calculating look that flashed in Luna's eyes. How could I not know Luna's plan? My husband and I had saved some money over the years and bought a school district house with a down payment. Luna was thinking that our house could be left to her biological son in the future. It was a pity that in my previous life, after I died, Luna couldn't wait to transfer our house. Only then did I understand Luna's calculation. She made that bad-natured son kill me, just because she was afraid that I would sell the house to compensate the family of the little girl. Thinking of her super male son, I sneered. This time, her calculation was doomed to fail. After my husband sent Luna and me home, he went to work and didn't come back until dinner time. Because Luna and I were pregnant, my mother-in-law cooked the meals at home. Before dinner, my mother-in-law's youngest daughter, Scarlett, my sister-in-law, specifically came to ask Luna and me what we wanted to eat. I didn't like this sister-in-law either. She had a very strange temper. Since I'm not her real sister and my efforts to be friendly to her were in vain, I didn't pay much attention to her. Moreover, in my previous life, after I died, my sister-in-law was one of those who testified to the media that I abused the bad-natured child. But my sister-in-law had an unexpectedly good relationship with Luna. I casually said I wanted to eat spicy food, and my sister-in-law immediately went to ask Luna. We were all sitting in the living room, and I could hear their conversation clearly. Luna wanted to eat our food. So I immediately added, cook my food separately from Luna's. I can't eat any sour food these days. My sister-in-law didn't even look back at me. Just said, got it, casually. And then went to the kitchen to tell my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law was busy for a while. Just as my husband came back, it was time for dinner. When my mother-in-law brought all the dishes to the table, my face was darker than the bottom of a pot. There was no other reason. Today's dishes were pickled fish, pickled beans, and a bowl of plum soup. Only one dish of green vegetables was not sour, but it was sprinkled with scallions. I had been married to my husband for a year, and the whole family knew that I hated scallions the most. I would even vomit if I smelled them. Wasn't this clearly meant to make me uncomfortable? My husband saw that I didn't move my chopsticks and asked me what was wrong. I didn't say anything, but a proud smile flashed across Luna's face. Luna picked up a chopstick of pickled fish and put it in her mouth, showing a satisfied smile. Mom's cooking is delicious. Thank you, Mom. Serena, why don't you eat? Is Mom's cooking not to your taste? The smile on my mother-in-law's face immediately disappeared, and she pulled a long face. I do the housework and cook for you every day. None of you except Luna is grateful. Now you even dislike my cooking. If you really don't want to eat, then whoever wants to cook can do it in the future. My sister-in-law, who was eating beside us, also pouted. You should be content with what you have to eat. Stop being picky. If you're so capable, ask your own mother to cook for you. You're so pretentious. Hearing my mother-in-law and sister-in-law's sarcastic remarks, I got really angry. My husband saw that my face was not right and was about to mediate. I stood up directly. Everyone in the family was startled by me. I've been in this family for a year. I've said countless times that I don't like scallions. But you put them in every day. Fine. I'll order takeout. After I got pregnant, you said that the food outside was unhealthy and insisted that I eat home-cooked food. Before dinner, I said I wanted to eat spicy food. If you don't make spicy food, it's okay. But the only dish that's not sour is scallions in it. Isn't this clearly forcing me to eat sour food? After all this, you still have the nerve to say I'm pretentious. What? Am I just supposed to be treated like dirt after marrying into your family? I've been a good girl since I was a child, and the most common comment from people around me is that I'm quiet. In this family for a year, I've endured all the small things. But now, I've died once, and I don't want to endure it anymore. Nobody present expected that I, who am usually amiable, would be so assertive today. My mother-in-law, being contradicted to her face, felt humiliated. Her voice was like a loudspeaker as she immediately roared, "Am I in the wrong for cooking so hard? It's all food. What can't be eaten? You people of this generation have it too good. When we were kids, even if it was wild vegetables, we had to eat them all up. What's this about not being able to eat scallions and sour things? You're not a princess, having fulfilled my incest. Why are you being so delicate?" I was so angry that I almost laughed. Did you like eating wild vegetables back then? You just had no choice. My parents spoiled me since I was a child, making whatever I liked to eat. What do your hardships have to do with me? And now you're lecturing me. My husband and I are the ones paying the living expenses for this family. Can't I even eat something spicy? When it came to this, my mother-in-law looked a bit guilty. She mumbled, "The second son is capable. What's wrong with giving some living expenses? I raised him with so much hardship. Why can't he give me living expenses?" Luna's husband had an unpleasant expression on his face. He kept silent with a sullen face. Because Luna's husband had been laid off by the company recently, and was unemployed at home. My husband, out of consideration for his elder brother, had our couple been paying the living expenses for the family. I retorted, "Which law in this country stipulates that one has to support not only their parents but also the whole family of their siblings? Are you so shameless that you can eat for free with a clear conscience?" Hearing my words, not only Luna's husband but also her younger sister looked very embarrassed. My husband quickly pulled me over and whispered, "The money for food isn't much. Don't mention this." I sneered. To be honest, as long as it doesn't involve his big family, my husband is a fairly competent one. But precisely because he is incredibly good to his family, I endured so much from my mother-in-law in my previous life. And now, I don't want to tolerate this anymore. I said to my husband word by word, "If you dare to take their side today, we'll go through the divorce procedures tomorrow." Under the pressure of my gaze, my husband's face showed obvious hesitation. After a moment, my husband looked at me with an apologetic expression. "Serena, Let's not make a scene. Okay? It's just a meal. I'll cook for you myself in the future. Okay? It was this kind of compromising talk again. In my previous life, when I was in my later stages of pregnancy, I developed a lot of stretch marks on my belly. So I asked my husband to help me apply pregnancy oil. But my mother-in-law thought it was too expensive and secretly replaced it with ordinary essential oil. I didn't notice until 2 months later. As a result, for the rest of my life, I could only bear the ugly stretch marks on my belly and never dared to wear any clothes that exposed my navel again. And my mother-in-law secretly gave the pregnancy oil I bought for several thousand yuan to Luna, pretending that she bought it for her. The reason was that my mother-in-law thought the super male baby in Luna's belly was more promising than my son. I didn't know the truth until Luna came to show off in front of me. After I told my husband about this, my husband just sighed and said that his elder brother dropped out of school early and paid half of his college living expenses. He asked me to let this matter go and said he would buy me a better pregnancy oil. At that time, I endured it because of my husband's words. Now that I think about it, his elder brother wasn't giving me the living expenses. Why should I endure the anger at home to repay his kindness? Why should Luna, who did nothing, marry her husband and accept the respect from her husband's younger brother with a clear conscience? Why should I, who also did nothing, marry into this family and be willing to respect his elder brother, along with Luna, his younger sister, and his mother? I didn't even ask for a bride price. And the down payment for the house was pooled together by my husband and me. Was it because I was stupid? After figuring out the key point, I felt that my mind became much clearer. Maybe being reborn can't bring back the complete soul, and some waste has been expelled. My husband saw that I didn't speak for a long time and quickly hugged me. Wife, you're the best wife in the world. Please don't be angry with them. Forgive my mother this time. Didn't you take a fancy to a gold bracelet last time? I'll buy it for you. I expressionlessly shook off his hand. Wang, if you dare to scold your mother as a mean person even once, I can still continue to live with you. Just being taller and all the time won't make others think you're a real man. You can keep that gold bracelet to honor your mother. Oh, no. You can honor your mother with it after the property is divided. After saying that, I directly ignored him and started packing my luggage. Even if my husband is a good person, I'm too lazy to serve this big family. Seeing me like this, my husband was also a bit angry. But he thought I was just in a normal low mood during pregnancy. He patiently coaxed me for a while, then received a work call and hurried out. Before leaving, he said to me, Wife, don't you love the roast duck from the store in the north of the city the most? I'll bring it back for you when I get off work. I didn't stop packing my luggage for a moment. I can still buy roast duck for myself even after getting divorced. But if I keep living with this family, I'm afraid that even if I buy a roast duck, I'll only get the ducks but at most. Under my threat of having an induced abortion, Asher still went to the Civil Affairs Bureau with me to get a divorce. Although he is easily influenced, he is not a difficult to deal with person. The divorce agreement was signed smoothly. Asher left the school district house to me, and I'll pay off the loan myself. He'll get 2,000 yuan for child support every month until the child turns 18. And the savings will be divided with me getting 70 and him getting 30. I let out a long sigh of relief. I could tell that Asher thought I was just emotionally unstable during pregnancy. But only I know how much determination I'd made. It was not until after the 1-month cooling off period that Asher seemed to suddenly realize that this time I wasn't just angry, but I really wanted a divorce. But everything was irreparable. Even though Asher pleaded desperately, we still got divorced. After the divorce, I moved to my parents' house to live. As for the account that Luna and I had been operating, since the contract with the media company was about to expire, it was a natural separation. We dissolved the partnership fairly peacefully, and the fans had a high acceptance. I started operating my personal account. When Luna and I were jointly operating the account, most of the work such as writing copy and editing was done by me alone. And Luna just showed up. So I didn't find it too difficult to do it alone. After hearing that I was going solo, Luna called me and made some sarcastic remarks. She chose to continue cooperating with the previous company and used our previous account, just with a new best friend. If things ended here, maybe I would think that what happened in my previous life was just like a dream. But Luna posted her pregnancy test results online. And it went viral across the whole network. Super male and chimera? Do you know what that means? Blogger? It means that your child is not only super male but also ate his twin brother in the womb. Get an induced abortion while you can. Such a bad seed will definitely endanger society if born. Great news. Netizens in City A. You're in luck. Messages like this flooded Luna's comment section. Luna called me and asked me to speak up for her. They're definitely just jealous that I'm having a son. The doctor said there's no problem. Why should I have an abortion? Serena. We're the best friends. Please say something for me. Goodness. She didn't even dare to speak up herself but wanted me to take the lead? Yes, Headley too. Luna. They're all jealous of you. Don't take it too hard. I don't think it's necessary to clarify anything. Anyway, when the baby is born, he'll be smart and cute, and surely slap them in the face. I could imagine that Luna's face must have turned as black as coal through the phone. But what did it have to do with me? Luna spoke again, her tone forced to be flattering. Serena. Isn't your father a professor at the medical university? Can you ask him to speak up for me? I sneered in my heart. I knew Luna came to me for this. My father is indeed a professor. But he's a brain doctor. I'm afraid he can't help you for now. Luna was taken aback, then reacted and said angrily. It's your son who needs to see a brain doctor. Besides, others don't know which department your father is in. As long as he shows his professor's certificate, netizens will naturally believe it. I sneered. Sorry. I can't do something that might damage my father's reputation. Serena. If you don't help me, I'll have to pay a 1 million yuan penalty. You can't be so cruel. Hearing the screams coming from the phone, I directly hung up. I almost forgot that was such a big negative impact on the internet. The media company Luna signed with surely wouldn't let her go. In my previous life, Luna also came to me for help. At that time, I kept looking for various experts to prove that super male babies weren't that harmful and were mostly no different from normal people. With the authoritative proof, the negative impact of public opinion on her was gradually weakened. Instead, her super male baby as a gimmick attracted a lot of attention from netizens, and the number of fans of the account increased rapidly. Naturally, the company didn't mention the penalty. I worked so hard to help her, but she turned around and swapped my son with her super male baby. I'd be an idiot to help her again. The next afternoon, my friend Ivy, who works in the hospital, called me. Serena. You were right. That Luna really came to ask about super male children. What can our hospital say? Of course. We said there's a great possibility that it's a normal child. Otherwise, persuade her to have an abortion? But that Luna doesn't seem as reassured as last time. I guess she'll come up with something else later. Be careful. After being reborn, I had asked Ivy to keep an eye on Luna's news. After hanging up the phone, I opened Luna's homepage. The first post was her new work. He's my baby who I've been pregnant with for 8 months. I can't give up on him. I'll prove to everyone that he's not a super male bad seed but my smart and cute baby son. Because of the generally negative impression of super male babies on the internet, seeing that Luna was unwilling to have an induced abortion, netizens quickly flooded Luna's comment section. After all, no one wants a ticking time bomb around their children in the future. Luna's company came to me, hoping that I could persuade Luna. I directly posted some of my previous chat records with Luna. In the chat records, Luna's attitude was firm. She not only didn't think super male babies were dangerous, but also firmly claimed that super male babies would be real men in the future. Even the person in charge who contacted me was speechless and no longer mentioned asking me to persuade Luna. Apart from Luna, Asher came to me later as well. Serena. For my sake, can you help my eldest brother and them? It's 1 million yuan. They've been so worried these days that they can't sleep. And my mom's hair has turned white with worry. So what? What does that have to do with me? I looked at Asher with amusement. Your family didn't even let me have a spicy meal back then. Now you suddenly think of asking me for help? Asher. I'm telling you. No way. Asher pressed his temple. Those are just trivial matters. Serena. Do you really have to dwell on such small things? It's just a meal. You know what my mom is like. She just thought that our food means a son and spicy food means a daughter. And she wanted to have good luck. Even now, Asher still thinks those are just trivial matters. I even heard from our mutual friends that Asher said to others that I divorced him just because of a meal. Now many people think that we divorced because I'm too delicate. So you actually knew what your mom was thinking. But you just chose to stand by and do nothing. What? Do you also think sons are better than daughters? I like both boys and girls. But daughters will eventually get married and leave. Before he could finish, I stood up directly and splashed a cup of boiling hot coffee in his face. Then go find another woman to have a son for you. Don't pester me here. After that, I picked up my bag and left straight away. Amid the netizens' curses, the popularity of Luna and her super male son reached its peak. If Luna hadn't exposed her identity, it might have been okay. But she posted it using her own self-media account. So someone dug out her address, threatening to monitor her until she had an abortion. Some people even dumped feces and splashed red paint at her door. There were also those who knocked on Luna's door in the middle of the night, scaring her badly. All these were things Luna posted on her own account. She cried bitterly online, saying that she was just a poor person. But no one listened to her. Even if some people sympathized with her, the extremists wouldn't be moved by her tears. Coupled with the 1 million yuan liquidated damages, soon I heard that my mother-in-law sold the house they were living in and moved to another place. Luna's account was also forcibly taken back. Her works were cleared, and it was going to be transferred for use by other bloggers. For 2 consecutive months, Luna didn't show up online. Until 2 months before the due date, I received a threatening text message from a strange number. You will get your retribution. I sneered and replied, really? Then I'll wait and see. On the day of giving birth, my whole family came to accompany me. The delivery was relatively smooth. After giving birth, the nurse brought the baby to my chest for mother-child contact. I spread the baby's little hand on my own hand. When I saw a black birthmark on it, I suddenly felt relieved. Yes, it couldn't be wrong. In the previous life, Luna's genius son had such a birthmark on his hand. Luna didn't lie to me. She really did swap my biological son. Even though I was already 90% sure in my heart, when I saw this birthmark on my son's hand, I almost burst into tears. At the same time, a huge sense of resentment welled up in my heart. How could I not hate that the son I carried in my womb for 10 months was swapped like this? After adjusting my emotions, looking at the little baby in my arms with a wrinkled face, my heart softened. I took a last reluctant look at the baby before the nurse took him away. When a little nurse came to check on my physical condition and got close to me, she put a note in my palm. After waking up again and having a little strength, I couldn't wait to open the note as soon as she left. On it was written, "The baby has been swapped. Everything is going well." On the day I was discharged from the hospital with the baby, Luna appeared on the internet again. She created a new account named The Daily Life of a Super Male Baby. This time, Luna was smarter. She said in the comment section that this account was used to record her son's growth process and hoped that netizens would supervise more. If her son eventually became a person who endangered society, she would send her son to a mental hospital herself. This statement temporarily calmed the netizens down. Compared to Luna disappearing from the internet without a word, this made everyone feel more at ease. In the video, Luna smiled triumphantly, as if she was certain that her child couldn't become a bad seed. Luna named her son Blaze. I stroked the baby's white and tender little hand, looking at my parents, grandparents, and grandparents-in-law who were gathered around discussing the baby's name, and smiled gently. A gentleman is like jade, warm to the touch. I think we can call him Jasper. The first day I knew about the baby's existence, I had already thought of the baby's name. I hope he will become a person like a gentleman in the future. I don't expect him to be successful in the worldly sense, but to be able to respect others, just like a gentleman. It's just that in the previous life, when registering the bad-natured child's household registration, My mother-in-law slapped the table and changed the bad-natured child's name to Blaze, behind my back. Now it seems that perhaps that bad-natured child just didn't deserve this name. Truly, having fulfilled my obsession, there is a divine will in the dark. Luna's account was continuously updated. Her super male baby was stronger than other babies at birth. When Blaze was 2 years old and live streaming, he inserted a fork into his grandmother's mouth, almost piercing her tongue through. She said the child was young and ignorant. When Blaze was 4 years old, while Luna was live streaming, he picked up a vase and smashed it at Luna's head. Luna's head was bleeding on the spot. After she was discharged from the hospital with a head full of white bandages, she said the child was still young and didn't understand. When Blaze was 6 years old and started kindergarten, on the first day of school, he poured glass shards into a little girl's bowl, causing the little girl to have a perforated intestine, and the parents called the police. Someone posted this incident online, causing a huge uproar. The topic about Luna's super male baby was once again on the hot search. Countless people went to Luna's account to curse, wishing Luna and her super male baby would die. Luna was finally scared. She took Blaze back home and contacted me via the back end of the platform again the next day. I haven't been idle these years either. I created a new self-media account specifically focusing on the maternal and infant area. Compared with Luna's super male baby, my son is not only white and tender, but also very well behaved. Netizens on the internet all like him and call him little gentleman. There are also many gentle sisters leaving messages in the comment section, wanting to form an in-law relationship with me. Even in Luna's comment section, people often compare her to children, saying that although we were once best friends, the children we raised are worlds apart. Luna and I made an appointment to meet at a coffee shop. Seeing that I didn't bring Jasper with me, Luna was very disappointed. After all, in her heart, Jasper is her biological son. Luna has sent me a lot of messages over the years, but I haven't replied to any of them. I've long moved out of the original place of residence, and Luna has no way to contact me forcefully. I came this time because I knew Luna couldn't hold back anymore. She has tried to contact me countless times in these years, mostly because of her super male child. But this time, if I don't show up, she might take desperate measures. Luna is like a completely different person from a few years ago. I still remember when we first married into the Blaze family. We were both like young girls with full collagen on our faces. But a few years have passed. Without the beautifying and filtering effects of the live streaming room, Luna looks more than 10 years older. Even though she has put on a delicate full face makeup, she still can't hide the fine lines under her eyes. Even when she lowered her head, I could faintly see the terrifying scars on her neck. Presumably, in these years, not only has Blaze been tormenting her, but her husband has also treated her badly. I felt quite pleased, seeing me dressed in high-end luxury brands. Strong jealousy flashed in Luna's eyes. She opened her mouth for a long time and finally said something sarcastic. "You've been doing well these years. Did you find a rich man to rely on?" I took a sip of the hot coffee in my hand. I now have 10 million fans across the internet and have established my own media company. What do you think? Not only that, in these years, I've also become an investor. After all, with an information gap of more than 10 years ahead of this era, if I couldn't make money, wouldn't I be as useless as Luna? Luna's fingers tightly grasped the cup in her hand, her fingertips turning white. "Serena, you're still so vain. To reach your current position in these years, you must have slept with a lot of men, right?" I neither admitted nor denied it, but just sighed softly. I've really been very tired these years. When my son turns 18 and has his coming-of-age ceremony, I'll transfer the shares under my name to him, be a hands-off boss, and travel around. Alas, as a woman, I actually don't need to work this hard. It's mainly for the child. Don't you think so, Luna? Hearing my words, I could clearly see Luna's hand trembling on the back. She was excited. She was like seaweed that had been soaked and slowly stretched out. In a blink of an eye, she seemed to have returned to the Luna who had a superior look on her face when facing me a few years ago. You're right. As mothers, we always have to think about our sons. After saying this, Luna left directly. Before leaving, She gave me a provocative look. I looked at her back and unhurriedly took another sip of coffee. After today, I know Luna will continue to painstakingly torment and injure her super male son. After all, as long as she waits until Jasper turns 18 and I transfer all the shares to Jasper, she can come forward to recognize him as her son and become a rich lady in a legitimate way. And I'm certain that she won't kill that super male son, because she still needs to keep him for the day when I find out the truth. She wants to make me miserable. But she doesn't know who the real hunter hiding behind is. The next day, Luna posted a video. In the video, she humbly pulled Blaze and the little girl's parents to apologize, but was pounced on by the enraged Blaze and pushed to the ground. He scratched and clawed at her face. And soon there was blood. For a moment, netizens began to sympathize with Luna again, thinking that it was quite pitiful for Luna to have such a super male son. Moreover, Luna could be considered a responsible parent. After all, in the videos Luna updated every day, she treated Blaze fairly well and even quit her job to stay at home with him. As a result, Luna's reputation improved a lot, and netizens shifted their blame to Blaze. I got new photos from the private detective and flipped through them one by one, a smile curving my lips. Sure enough, as I expected, in my previous life, although Blaze was mean to others, he had never attacked me. And the reason Blaze attacked Luna was that Luna chained Blaze up at home. Blaze was locked in a cage like a dog by Luna. Luna only let Blaze out during live streams and when shooting videos. Luna had been severely tormented by Blaze in recent years. She wasn't a good person either. When Blaze didn't obey, she would beat him with a stick. When she was too tired, she would ask Cedric to do it. Due to being beat and all year round, Blaze was covered in dense scars. And because of his fear of Luna and Cedric at home, Blaze would temporarily retract his claws and cooperate with Luna to shoot videos. In such an environment, Blaze was turned into a wild beast. He seemed well behaved on weekdays. But when he judged that Luna was in a vulnerable position, he would attack her without hesitation. That's why when Luna knelt in front of the little girl's parents, Blaze pounced on her and beat her. For a moment, I had to admire Luna. After all, in order to make me regret in the future, she could endure such a brute. Why not play with her for a while longer? In a blink of an eye, Jasper grew to be 11 years old. I had carefully educated him since he was a child. He knew how to respect others and take care of the weak, like a true gentleman. Gentle and decent. At the same time, Jasper's grades were as good as in the previous life. He topped the grade rankings all year round, and both teachers and classmates liked him very much. For the convenience of his schooling, I bought a house in the villa area next to Jasper's school and lived there permanently. One day, Jasper told me that a new classmate had transferred to the class next to theirs. The new classmate was very strange. Always gloomy and couldn't get along with anyone. The classmates in his class isolated and disliked him. Remembering my usual teachings, Jasper took the initiative to make friends with him. He and the new classmate lived in opposite directions. After coming out of the school gate, Jasper would part ways with him. But recently, Jasper always felt that someone was secretly following him on the way. The feeling of being stared at would only disappear when he entered the community. Jasper guessed that the person might have bad intentions. So one time, after entering the community, he didn't leave directly but hid behind the security room to observe. After several times, he finally found out who the person was. It was the newly transferred student from the class next door. Blaze. Every word Jasper said made my heart leap into my throat. Luna had disappeared from the internet a few years ago, and I gradually stopped paying attention to her, focusing instead on my career. Hearing my son's description, I could guess who that person was almost without thinking. Blaze. But Jasper studied at an international, aristocratic school. How did Blaze, or rather Luna, find him? Damn it. Because I hadn't paid attention to Luna for several years. I didn't even know Luna's current situation. I was too careless. I tried to calm down and stroked Jasper's head. You go to bed first. Mom will help you solve this matter. Jasper obediently answered him, and went back to his room to rest. I covered my violently beating chest with my hand. It would probably take a lot of effort to ask the private detective to investigate again. After thinking for a while, I still took out my phone and dialed a number. Asher. It's me. How have you been recently? I called the school principal and mentioned it briefly. I didn't want Jasper to see the darkness of human nature too early, nor did I want him to get involved in the affairs of our previous generation. So the next day, Jasper came back and told me that Blaze had transferred schools. The crisis was temporarily resolved, and I felt a sigh of relief. Another over half a month passed peacefully. And it was Jasper's 12th birthday. I carefully arranged a birthday party and asked Jasper to invite his classmates to come and play. Jasper was popular and invited more than 50 classmates to celebrate together. Among these children, some were extroverted and played games together, while others were introverted and hid in the corner without speaking. I didn't pay much attention, focusing all my attention on Jasper. Since most of the classmates lived in the same community as us and someone came to pick them up outside, we played together until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. By then, most of the classmates couldn't hold on anymore and left one after another. The other classmates who found it too late to go back stayed overnight at my house. At 4 o'clock in the morning, when I was sleeping drowsily in the bedroom, I suddenly heard a faint noise outside. Someone was picking the lock of my bedroom door. The moment I realized this, I woke up instantly. It was too late. It couldn't be Jasper. And Jasper would definitely knock on the door first if he came. It couldn't have been a gangster either, as the security system in the villa area was extremely good, and no irrelevant person could get in. So the person picking the lock must have sneaked into the villa or been let in by me on my own initiative. Wait. Someone I let in on my own initiative. My heart was pounding. I searched through the classmates who came today and finally thought of a boy wearing a peaked cap who was hiding in the corner. My fingertips were trembling, and a name was on the tip of my tongue. It was him. It was Blaze. At this moment, the door was pushed open. My heart stopped for a moment. After a while, I looked inside in horror. I saw Blaze raise a machete high and strike hard at the person under the bedding on the bed. Yes, I was watching all this from outside the door. The security guards came quickly, and they managed to subdue the tall and strong Blaze together. Blaze looked at me with a sinister expression. Bitch. You guessed it long ago. Didn't you? You guessed it long ago. I leaned into Jasper's arms and burst into tears. Aren't you my child's classmate? I treated you so warmly. Why did you do this? Blaze laughed, his face full of ferocity. Don't you know? Have you been acting for so long that you really think you're some kind-hearted and gentle person? Mom. I became like this because I inherited your genes. Hearing his words, everyone present frowned. They all thought Blaze was crazy and talking nonsense. After all, everyone knew that Jasper was the child I raised by my side. And my social media account recorded every bit of Jasper's growth from childhood to adulthood. The police arrived soon. They quickly took away Blaze and Asher's body. Yes, under the quilt that Blaze hacked it was none other than my ex-husband, Asher. After all, Jasper is also Asher's son. So I invited Asher to Jasper's birthday. But I'm a public figure, so I didn't want others to know that Asher had come. After all, Asher is not doing well now. And I didn't want others to know that Jasper had such a father. Asher was not just not doing well. In recent years, he had been borrowing online loans continuously and was burdened with millions of debts. So I asked Asher to hide in my room first. But I didn't expect that Asher fell asleep in my room because it was too late. So I went to sleep in the guest room next door. In the middle of the night, when I heard the noise from the next room, through the monitor I installed in the room, I saw that devil kill my ex-husband with his own hands. So I immediately called the police and the security guards. The monitor in the room recorded everything. I hadn't seen Blaze's family for years, and the police could find out after a little investigation. As for Asher, the chat records between him and me were indeed still saved on my phone. Asher was purely caught in my misfortune this time. The chat records clearly showed that I invited Asher to quietly attend our son's birthday party. So I was soon released. And at the police station, the police also told me something. It turned out that 3 years ago, Luna's family died at home due to a gas leak, leaving only Blaze alive. At that time, there was no evidence to prove that Blaze was the murderer. And Blaze was not yet 12 years old. So even if we had great doubts, there was nothing we could do. I wiped away the tears in my eyes and sighed softly. Life is full of uncertainties. Finally, the police determined that Asher harbored jealousy because of my good relationship with Luna, while I and Jasper were living a life far better than his. So he deliberately got close to Jasper to kill me. And the reason Asher was able to enter our aristocratic school was that Luna had bought a high-value insurance policy for the whole family before her death. The insurance company paid out, and Asher used the money to get in. This Blaze is not stupid at all. Instead, he has a very high IQ. If he hadn't exposed himself, there might be another ticking time bomb in society in the future. The police sighed to me. Yes, having fulfilled my obsession. It's just a pity that my ex-husband took the blame for me. Now Jasper doesn't have a father anymore. My tears flowed down again. And the police quickly comforted me. He said implicitly, "Maybe it's lucky for your son to have a mother like you." This case was exposed on the internet, causing a huge stir. The public was extremely angry and demanded that the judicial authorities give a severe sentence, not wanting someone like Blaze to live in the world. Finally, heading falsely, the court sentenced Blaze to life imprisonment, and he would spend the rest of his life in prison. I finally went to see Blaze one last time. Through the glass, hidden glass, Blaze was much calmer in his emotions, looking no different from other ordinary people. With the police watching over, I just calmly chatted with him about everyday things. "When did you come back?" I asked. 3 years ago. I understood. When I was about to leave, he mouthed to me, "You won this life." Mom. Looking at the black birthmark on Blaze's palm pressed against the glass window, I laughed. Well, after all, Blaze was born to me. Since he was born later, it's natural that his rebirth came later. Extra story: my name is Serena. Since I was born, I wasn't favored by my family. In order to get a bite to eat, I often had to wash clothes with cold water in the freezing winter, my hands turning bright red from the cold. My father was an alcoholic. He often whipped me with a whip dipped in salt water after getting drunk. But it was strange that I didn't feel as miserable as a normal person would under such inhumane torture. It seemed that I was born without much emotion. However, I really liked my younger brother. My younger brother was a very polite and kind-hearted child. He would hide half a steamed bun in his arms and secretly give it to me to eat at night. When I was being beaten, he would go and wake up the village head next door. When the boys in the village grew a bit older and wanted to explore the mysteries of girls, my brother would shield me behind him and tell them it was wrong, that we should cherish girls. He was the most wonderful person I had ever seen. I learned a sentence in a textbook: "A gentleman is like jade, warm to the touch." I thought that if my brother grew up, he would surely be such a person. But such a good brother was forever left at the age of 6. My brother tried to pull my drunken father who was beating me, but was accidentally thrown away by my father. His head hit the floor and he died on the spot. On the day my brother was buried, my mother slapped me one after another. But I didn't move. Later, one late night, my father and mother died because they forgot to open the window while burning charcoal for warmth. I was sent to an orphanage and was adopted by my current parents. They loved me very much and changed my name to Serena, which was taken from Serena, gentle and charming. Just like Serena, they treated me very well. I had clean clothes, never went hungry again, and didn't get beaten anymore. They said I was a kind and lovely girl. But Mom and Dad, would a kind and lovely girl kill her own biological parents? As I grew older, I gradually realized that I might have some kind of illness. When I saw the kittens around the school, I always had an impulse to wring their necks and watch their breath fade away little by little. But I remembered when I was a child, the first time I tried to lure and kill a kitten with cured meat. My brother looked at me with a pair of clear eyes and said, "Sister, you're so kind." My brother held my hand, thinking that I was rescuing the kitten. So I held back. A person as good as me shouldn't do such things. But after pretending for so long, I was about to burst. Just then, I met Luna. The first time I saw her, she locked a pretty-looking girl in the classroom, not letting her out, while muttering, "You seduced the senior. Aren't you on your period? Tomorrow I'll let the classmates in the class see the menstrual blood all over the floor." When she saw me, she looked terrified, but I smiled. Kittens are cute and harmless creatures, and I couldn't hurt them. But a person like Luna, even if I killed her, it wouldn't matter, right? Don't they all say that those who punish the evil and promote the good are good people? Just like my brother. Because of Luna's boyfriend, I got to know Asher. He seemed honest and decent. But I knew that the class beauty committed suicide because he spread malicious rumors about her. So I started to approach him actively and successfully got together with him. A few years after graduation, Luna and I married into the same family. And relying on this gimmick, we started making money through the internet. At first, I didn't know that Luna had swapped the children. But Luna was so stupid. Didn't she even change the bracelets when she asked someone to swap the children? The mistake was quickly corrected by the nurse. And my child was still mine. But Luna didn't know. She thought she had successfully swapped the children. So when she was abusing Jasper at home, she didn't know that it was actually her own child. And my child grew up day by day. No matter how I taught him, he wouldn't become a kind and good child like my brother. I was losing patience. One day, on my way back from work, I met Jasper. He called me Dad politely and even thoughtfully offered to carry things for me. In that moment, I seemed to see my brother. So I seriously asked him if he would like to be my son. Jasper was stunned for a moment and then refused, even though I saw a flash of eagerness on his face. This scene was seen by Blaze. "He stabbed me 18 times with a knife," he said. "Since you don't want to be my mom, then I'll change to another mom." When I opened my eyes again, I was reborn back to the day when Luna's child was detected with super male syndrome. Since Blaze wanted to change to another mom, then I would fulfill his wish. Well, it's definitely not that I wanted Jasper to be my child. I was just meeting Blaze's request. My brother would surely understand me. I'm still a good person, right? As Jasper grew up day by day, every time I looked at him, I felt extremely at ease. Jasper grew up to be a lovely, kind, and gentlemanlike child as I had hoped. He was by no means a natural bad seed. He was my dearest son. Asher contacted me. He said that he had done a paternity test with Blaze and knew that Blaze was our biological son. He asked me to give him money. Otherwise he would tell Luna about this. I calculated the time and then made an agreement with him. Every year on Jasper's birthday, if he reminded me to come and celebrate Jasper's birthday, I would transfer money to him. This money sending lasted for 5 years. Until Jasper was 12 years old. I would eliminate all potential risks that might separate me from Jasper. So I had someone take Blaze to a prestigious school and contacted Asher on Blaze's 12th birthday. Only when they were both dead would no one be able to take Jasper away from me. Brother. I had no choice. You will understand your sister. Right? I'm still a good person. Right? Over the years, I have repeatedly observed humans and studied various psychology books and novels. I have fully learned to disguise my emotions, making my joys, angers, sorrows, and pleasures seem no different from those of a normal person. So if I didn't tell you the truth, you would be deceived by me too, right? My dear reader. The end.